It's interesting to me that in 2020, when many of us took to the streets to protest police brutality and the murder of black Americans at the hands of police forces across the country, we were met with severe police repression and violence. Then only a couple of years later, in 2024, when college students across the country began setting up encampments at their university to protest an ongoing genocide in Gaza, those same police forces are responding with severe police repression and violence. It's almost as if the role of law enforcement is to enact mass violence against anyone who might challenge an inherently violent and brutal status quo. And in fact, it really seems like policing as an institution acts more as an occupational force with the singular purpose of maintaining the interests of capital. And it's almost as if the natural reaction of the state in which we exist in is to levy mass amounts of violence against anyone who might challenge its interests. But hey, what do I know? All I'm seeing is that this is the response to college students saying genocide is bad. A genocide supported and funded by our government, a government whose interests these officers protect. Something to think on. As always, free Palestine. ACAB, Assalamu alaikum, and have a great day.
Now, although I agree with what this young man is saying, there is one vital aspect of it that he's missing out on. When you looked at the marches that occurred in order to protest against police brutality against black people who were unnecessarily murdered, when you look at these people protesting for the Palestinians that have been unnecessarily murdered, the part that he's missing out on, and maybe he's just too young to remember, I don't know. But I remember when they had the 99% march and sit-in, the protest. There was no police engagements to where they were moving people and abusing people and arresting people. Those people sat in for months and months on months. No police brutality ever occurred. But he should remember the insurrection in 2009, I believe, or whenever it happened. But in the insurrection, 2020, whenever it happened, but when the insurrection happened, there was no police brutality. There was no call for the National Guard. So what is the common denominator here? When you protest the murdering and unfair treatment of people of color, the National Guard, the police are called out to quell the protest, to shut it down, to put people in jail, give them criminal records, so on and so forth. But the 99% march was mostly about Caucasians. The insurrection was about Caucasians. So because it was about those people, done by mostly those people, what you see is a restraint on the police. What you see is a restraint on the National Guard. What you see is a restraint by this so-called government. So he is absolutely correct. But there is a distinct difference. If you're protesting about black lives or brown lives being MDK'd, you get police brutality. You get the National Guard. But when it's about Caucasian lives, they get to have their protests. They're exercising their freedom under the Constitution. Whereas if it's about brown people, as that senator said, they need to exercise their protest in a lawful way, in the right way. The right way is only if you're trying to protect the lives and the economics of Caucasians. But when it comes to people of color, I think I've shown you how this government doesn't really care. And they're going to enforce the police brutality and make it seem like it is the people who are causing the disruption, who are doing illegal things. Just something that you might want to think about. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.